was past midnight. The house was breathing softly, every clock tick echoing down the hall. I should have been asleep. But something felt wrong. Then I heard it. A whisper. Soft, trembling. Adrian, stop. Someone might hear. Her voice. Marissa's, my stepmom. I froze halfway down the stairs. My hand gripped the railing, my chest tight. Adrian's voice followed, low and calm. Relax, he's asleep. That meant Dad. I took one more step, the wood creaking beneath my heel. The sound made my stomach twist. I told myself I was imagining things. That maybe it was a dream. But the laughter that followed, the kind I'd never heard from her before, cut through me like glass. I moved closer to the guest room door, half open. Light flickered inside. Shadows danced on the wall. Hers and his. Too close. Too familiar. Marissa's whisper turned shaky. If he finds out, Adrian, we're done. Adrian chuckled softly. Then he won't find out. Something inside me snapped. I wanted to yell, to break the door down, but my throat was locked. All I could do was listen to the sound of their breathing, the rhythm of betrayal. Then I saw her hand reach out, her wedding ring glinting in the dim light, and rest on his shoulder. I pressed my back to the wall. My pulse hammered in my ears. How could she? How could he? Dad had married her 2 years ago. Said she made him happy again. Said Adrian and I should learn to get along. But Adrian always had everything. The grades. The charm. The way Dad looked at him like he was the son he wished he'd raised. And now this. I stepped forward. Just enough to see their faces through the thin slit of the door. Marissa's hair fell over her face, her lips trembling as she looked at him. Adrian, this is wrong, she whispered. He smiled. Then why do you keep coming back? Her silence was worse than any answer. I felt something wet on my cheek. I didn't even realize I was crying. My knuckles tightened around the doorknob. For a second, I thought about my father downstairs. His reading glasses on the nightstand. The way he always said, family means trust, Noah. I twisted the knob slowly. The door creaked open. Marissa turned. Her eyes widened, and the color drained from her face. Noah, she gasped. Adrian didn't even move. He just stared at me, calm and cold, his shirt half undone. The room smelled like perfume and betrayal. I couldn't speak. My chest burned with every breath. Marissa stepped forward, shaking. It's not what you think. I laughed under my breath, though nothing about it felt funny. Then tell me what it is. Adrian's smirk returned. Careful, little brother. You're walking into something you don't understand. I looked at both of them. The woman who pretended to be a mother to me. The man who shared my last name but none of my blood. And I realized something in that moment. Whatever was left of this family, I was done protecting it. I took one more step into the room. Then help me understand, I said quietly. The silence that followed was heavy. Her lips parted. His smirk faded, and then Marissa whispered the last thing I expected to hear. It wasn't supposed to be you who found out. The smell of pancakes filled the kitchen, too sweet for the kind of morning it was. Marissa stood by the stove, humming softly. Like nothing had happened. I sat across from Adrian. He was already smirking, a fork spinning between his fingers. My father, cheerful as always, poured himself coffee. Morning, son. You look tired, he said. I didn't sleep much. Too much studying? He laughed. I wanted to tell him the truth. That his wife was cheating on him with the man sitting right next to me. But when I looked at Marissa's calm face, I froze. She smiled at me like a mother would. Eat before it gets cold, Noah. Her voice was gentle, but my stomach turned. Adrian leaned closer, his tone low enough for only me to hear. You watched us, didn't you? My hand tightened around the fork. You're disgusting, he shrugged. You could tell him, go ahead. Let's see who he believes. I looked at Dad. His eyes were full of pride as he read the morning news. He'd never believe me. Not without proof. Marissa sat beside Adrian, her hand brushing his under the table. A spark of movement that only I saw. My heart slammed against my ribs. Something wrong, Noah? She asked. I forced a smile. No, everything's perfect. Dad looked up, oblivious. I was thinking we all could use a break. Maybe a family trip? The lake house? Adrian grinned. Sounds great, Marissa nodded quickly. Yes, that would be nice. I stared at them both. A family trip. The words felt like poison. Adrian kicked my chair lightly. You can drive us, little brother, I glared at him. I'm not your brother, Dad frowned. Hey, enough! You two are family. Start acting like it. Marissa touched Dad's shoulder, her voice soft. They're just tired. Boys will be boys. I bit the inside of my cheek to keep from speaking. The clinking of cutlery filled the silence. Every sound felt louder, sharper. Adrian leaned back and looked straight at me. You know what I love about mornings? I didn't answer. He smiled wider. Everything looks clean. Even the lies. Marissa's hand froze midair, but she didn't look at him. She just kept eating. I couldn't take it anymore. I stood up, the chair scraping hard against the floor. Dad blinked. Noah? I'm late for class. Marissa spoke softly. At least take your breakfast with you. I'm not hungry. I walked out of the kitchen, my pulse pounding. From the hallway, I could still hear their laughter. Her voice. His voice. Blending like a sick joke. Outside, the air was cold. My hands trembled, but not from the chill. I pulled out my phone and stared at the blank screen. I wanted to call someone, anyone, but who could I tell? The image of last night flashed in my head again. Their shadows. Their whispers. I couldn't expose them yet. Not without proof. Not without a plan. Through the kitchen window, I saw Adrian's reflection. He was staring right at me, smiling like he already knew what I was thinking. That was the moment I made my decision. I wasn't going to tell my father. Not yet. I was going to follow Adrian tonight. Rain hit the windshield like tiny fists. I followed Adrian's black car through the narrow highway, the wipers barely keeping up. He drove like he didn't care who saw him. The headlights ahead of me turned into the parking lot of a cheap roadside motel. Faded neon lights flickered. Bluebird Inn, my pulse quickened. I parked 2 spaces away, keeping my head low. Adrian stepped out, pulled up his hood, and walked straight to room 12. Room 12, the same number that hung from Marissa's keychain. I gripped my phone. If I could just get a video, proof, something, Dad would have to believe me. I stepped out into the rain, the cold biting through my jacket. Water pooled around my shoes as I crept closer. Through the half-drawn curtain, I saw 2 silhouettes. Adrian's tall frame, a woman's softer outline. Her hair glimmered in the yellow light. Marissa. She turned her head, and I saw her face. I couldn't breathe. My throat felt tight, my body frozen. Adrian leaned close to her, whispering something against her neck. She smiled, eyes closed. My hand shook as I lifted my phone to record. Then, tap, a touch on my shoulder. Light, but it felt like lightning. I spun around. A girl stood there in a motel uniform, her umbrella dripping. She looked barely my age. Her eyes were sharp, curious. What are you doing? She asked softly. I swallowed hard. I could ask you the same thing. I work here. You don't. Her tone was calm, but her gaze flicked toward the room. You shouldn't be here. I have to know, I said. He's my brother. That's my stepmom. Her eyes widened slightly. Then you really don't know, do you? What are you talking about? She sighed, lowering her umbrella. Rain slid down her cheek like tears. You're too late, I frowned. Too late for what? They've been coming here for months. The words hit harder than the rain. My chest hollowed out. I turned back toward the curtain, but the light inside had gone out. Just darkness. I pushed past her, my voice breaking. I need to see for myself. She grabbed my wrist. Her grip was surprisingly strong. You don't want to. Let go. Her eyes searched mine. It won't fix anything. I'm not trying to fix it. I just need the truth. For a second, she hesitated, then released me. I took a few steps toward the door, but the handle was locked. Silence on the other side. No voices. No movement. Just the rain. I leaned my forehead against the door. My reflection blurred in the wet glass. Behind me, the girl spoke again. You're Noah, right? I turned. How do you know my name? She gave a faint smile. I know a lot more than that. Who are you? Lila, she said quietly. And if you want proof, I can help you. But it won't be free. Her voice was steady, but there was something in her eyes. Pity, maybe. Or guilt. A door creaked somewhere down the hall, and I saw Adrian's car lights flick on again. He was leaving. Lila stepped closer, her voice barely a whisper against the storm. If you want to stop him, meet me tomorrow night. Same place. Midnight. I wanted to ask more, but she turned away. vanishing into the rain. I stood there, soaked, shivering, staring at the empty window of room 12, and I knew she was right. I was too late. The motel office smelled like instant coffee and rain-soaked carpet. A single bulb flickered above us. Lila sat across the desk from me, her hair still damp. She typed quickly on an old laptop, her fingers moving with purpose. "You said you could prove it," I said. "I can," she replied. "But you won't like how." Her tone was steady, but her hands trembled slightly. I noticed the bruise on her wrist. "Adrian did that to you, didn't he?" She stopped typing. "He doesn't like being told no." The silence between us felt heavy. I leaned forward. "You knew him?" Her eyes lifted to mine. "More than you think. We dated for 6 months. He told me he loved me. Then he used me." My stomach dropped. "Used you how?" "He needed a place to hide things. Cameras, keys, cash." "Cameras?" Lila nodded and pulled open a drawer. Inside were 2 tiny devices, black and blinking faintly. "He records everything. Especially her. I felt sick." "So you helped him?" "At first," she said. "Then I realized what he was doing. And who he was doing it with." Her voice cracked on the last word. I could see the anger behind her calm mask. She pushed a hard drive toward me. "It's all here." "What he's done." "What she's done. But you have to promise me something." "What?" "That you won't tell him you got it from me." I hesitated. "Why are you helping me?" Her lips curved into something between a smile and a warning. "Because you're not like him. You still look for the truth." We stayed like that for a moment, the sound of rain hitting the window between us. There was something in her eyes I couldn't read. Guilt, maybe. Or fear. I took the hard drive, my hands shaking. "This could destroy my family." She leaned in closer. "Or save it." Her breath brushed my cheek. My pulse jumped. "Why are you shaking?" she whispered. "Because if this is real, everything changes." She reached out, fingers brushing mine. "Then let it change." The air between us shifted. Too close. Too dangerous. The old clock on the wall ticked louder. Lila broke the silence first. "We should check the footage now." She plugged in the drive. The laptop hummed. Video files appeared one by one, dates, timestamps, hotel rooms. My heart raced as the first clip played. Adrian and Marissa, in the same motel room. Her face clear, his smirk unmistakable. Lila watched quietly. That's what I meant when I said he doesn't stop until he breaks people. I could barely breathe. "I have to show my dad." "Not tonight," she said quickly. "Adrian checks on me sometimes." "If he finds out I helped you," her voice cut off as the screen flickered. Then went black. "What happened?" I asked. She clicked the mouse again. Nothing. The files were gone. "All of them, Lila?" She looked pale. "Someone deleted them. How?" "You said no one else could access your system." She backed away from the desk, whispering to herself. "He knew. He must have known." I grabbed her arm. "What aren't you telling me?" Her eyes met mine, wide and haunted. "Noah," she said softly. "You were never supposed to find out." Adrian leaned back in his chair, the city lights cutting across his face. He looked too calm for a man cornered. I slammed the hard drive on his desk. "What did you do to her?" He laughed. "To Lila, please." "She's not who you think she is. Stop lying." "She told you about me, didn't she? About how I hurt her." His smile widened. "That's her favorite story." My fists clenched. "You think this is a game?" Adrian stood, his cologne sharp and suffocating. "You really think she loves you?" "She's using you, Noah, just like Marissa used Dad." The words hit like a knife. "You don't know what you're talking about." "Oh, I do. Women like them always need a savior. You show up, they play broken, and suddenly you're their hero." He smirked. "Then they take what they want and disappear." I shoved him hard. "You're sick." He steadied himself, chuckling. "And you're naive. You're chasing ghosts, brother." I wanted to hit him again, but something in his tone froze me. He sounded sure. Too sure. The rain started that night without warning. It beat against my window, sharp and relentless. I couldn't shake his words. Lila's eyes. Her hesitation. Her warnings. Then came the knock. I opened the door and saw her standing there, soaked to the bone, her hair clinging to her face. "Lila?" "I had to come," she whispered. "Someone's following me." She stepped inside, trembling. I grabbed a towel. "Who?" "I don't know." A black car has been parked outside my place all day. Her voice broke, and for the first time I saw real fear. Not the kind you fake. The kind that lives in your bones. You're safe here, I said quietly. She looked up at me, her lips trembling. Am I? Before I could answer, a door opened behind me. My father's voice came from the hallway. Noah, what's going on? He saw Lila dripping water onto the floor. His eyes softened. You should have told me you had a girlfriend. Lila froze. I almost laughed, but something about her silence made my heart twist. She's not... It's fine, my father said, smiling faintly.
She's lovely. He went back to his room, humming to himself. Lila glanced at me, a faint blush on her cheeks.
You didn't correct him. I didn't want to. She smiled, small but real. You shouldn't say things like that. Why not? Because I might believe them. For a second, the storm outside vanished. All I saw was her, tired, scared, but alive. I made her tea. She sat by the couch, wrapped in a blanket. Thank you, she said softly, for not asking why I ran here. You don't need to explain. Her hand brushed mine as I passed her the cup. You're too kind, Noah. That touch lingered long after I went to bed. The morning light was gray and dull. I reached for my phone. No messages. The house was silent. I called out, Lila? No answer. The blanket was folded neatly on the couch. The teacup was washed and placed back on the counter. Something cold spread through my chest. I rushed to my desk. My laptop was gone. The backup hard drive, too. No, I whispered. I tore through my drawers, the panic building until my hands shook. That's when I saw it. A folded piece of paper lying where my laptop had been. My name written in neat, deliberate handwriting. I opened it. Stay out of this, or your father learns the truth. The words blurred as I read them again and again. My knees gave out. The rain had stopped outside, but the storm had just begun inside me. The chandelier light burned too bright, reflecting off the polished wine glasses and my father's perfect smile. Everyone laughed. Everyone except me. Marissa sat across the table in a deep red dress the color of danger. Her hand rested lightly over my father's, and for a second I thought I might throw up. Adrian raised his glass. To family, he said. His voice dripped with irony only I could hear. To family, everyone echoed. I forced a smile, my chest tightening. My father looked so proud, so unaware. The man who had built everything, and was about to lose it all. The waiter dimmed the lights. Time for the surprise presentation, Marissa said sweetly. My breath caught. The first slide appeared on the screen, a photo from my laptop. A beach trip. A family dinner. Harmless. Then another. And another. Every image came from folders I had locked. Folders only Lila and I knew existed. I froze. How did you get these? I whispered. Adrian smirked without turning his head. Maybe you should have backed up your secrets better. My fork slipped from my hand, clattering against the plate. Marissa looked my way, feigning confusion. Is everything all right, Noah? I couldn't answer. The next image appeared. It was room 12, Adrian and Marissa. Her red dress half off her shoulder, his hand gripping her waist. The room went silent. My father's smile vanished. His wine glass trembled in his hand. What is this? He whispered. Marissa stood pale now. It's fake. Someone's trying to hurt us. Adrian stayed seated, eyes cold. Dad, you need to listen. Don't call me that, my father said quietly. His voice cracked, and that hurt more than any shout. He looked at me. Did you do this? The question hit like a slap. No, I was trying to protect you. Marissa stepped closer to him. Please, David, it's not what it looks like. He backed away. Don't touch me. The tension thickened like smoke. I could hear the rain starting outside, faint but steady. Adrian, my father said, his voice shaking, tell me this isn't real. Adrian looked down, then met his eyes. I didn't mean for it to happen. The room erupted. Guests gasped. Someone dropped a glass. My father's knees gave way and he stumbled against the chair. I rushed toward him, but before I reached him, the screen flickered. The lights went out. A scream cut through the dark. Dad! I couldn't see anything. Just voices, chaos, and the faint smell of something burning. Maybe the projector, maybe the truth itself. Someone grabbed my arm. Noah, stay still. It was Marissa. I could feel her nails digging into my skin. Let go, I shouted, yanking free. The lights flickered back on, and then everything stopped. My father lay on the floor, unmoving, his hand still clutching the broken wine glass. Dad! I dropped beside him, shaking his shoulder. Call an ambulance! Adrian stood frozen. Marissa's lipstick smeared, tears cutting through her makeup. Don't touch him! She screamed. Shut up. I turned to Adrian. You did this! He didn't respond. His eyes darted to the projector, still faintly glowing with the last image. Her and him. Proof and punishment in one frozen frame. The sirens in the distance grew louder. I pressed my father's hand, my heart pounding. Stay with me, please. He didn't answer. Adrian stepped forward, voice trembling. Noah, you have to believe me. This wasn't supposed to happen. I looked up at him. Then what was supposed to happen? He opened his mouth, but before he could speak, the projector sparked, and the image vanished into smoke. The sound of sirens filled the night as I realized something even worse. Someone had planned this, and it wasn't over. The antiseptic smell burned my throat as I stood by the hospital bed. Machines beeped in steady rhythm. My father lay pale and still, his hand cold in mine. Marissa's voice broke the silence. You should leave, Noah. You've done enough. I turned to her. She wore black as if mourning the living. I didn't do this, I said quietly. She crossed her arms. Then who set up that slideshow? Who showed those pictures? Someone wanted to expose the truth. Adrian stepped in from the hallway, eyes dark, voice calm. You think that's noble? You almost killed him. I clenched my fists. You did that. Both of you, he sighed. You have no proof. My jaw tightened. He was right. The footage was gone. The laptop was gone. Every trail erased. Marissa put a hand on my father's arm, her tears sudden and perfect. David, he's not well. You have to believe me, the nurse entered. Only family can stay. Marissa looked at me like I was something rotten. You heard her, I hesitated. My father's fingers twitched, but he didn't wake. I stepped back, the weight of silence pressing down on me. When he finds out the truth, he'll never forgive you. Adrian leaned close, his whisper sharp. That's if he ever wakes up enough to hear it. I walked out before I broke something. Rain hit my face the moment I stepped outside. Cold, hard, relentless. My clothes clung to me as I dragged my feet down the empty street. I had nowhere to go, no proof. No one left to trust until I saw her. Lila stood by a parked car, her umbrella trembling in the wind. Noah, her voice cracked. I stopped a few feet away. You shouldn't be here, she bit her lip. I didn't know it would go that far. I stared at her, rain dripping from my hair. Go that far? You mean my father collapsing in front of everyone? Tears blurred her eyes. I just wanted to scare them, make them panic. But someone changed the files. Someone? I stepped closer. You had access to everything. You deleted the footage. Why? She shook her head, backing away. I didn't mean to. I grabbed her wrist, not hard, just enough to make her look at me. Then tell me the truth. Her breath caught. You wouldn't understand. Try me. The rain roared around us. Her lips trembled. Her mascara streaked like ink. Finally, she whispered, because Adrian asked me to. I froze. What? He came to me weeks ago, she said, voice shaking. He said he wanted to end things with Marissa quietly. He promised no one would get hurt. I didn't know he'd use me to destroy you. My heart sank. Every nerve in me burned. So you helped him set me up. I tried to stop it. After the dinner, I came to warn you. But he already knew about the backup files. My chest tightened. He took everything from me. My father, my home. And you were part of it. She stepped closer. Noah, please. I can fix this. I still have something. I shook my head. You had your chance. Her hand brushed my arm, soft and desperate. You don't understand. Adrian's not working alone. I turned, ready to walk away, but her words froze me again. He said someone else wanted your father gone. The rain fell harder. I looked back at her, my voice breaking. Who? She hesitated. He never said a name. Just that they were family. My pulse quickened. Family. The word echoed like thunder. Was it Marissa or someone else entirely? Before I could ask again, headlights flashed behind us, bright and sudden. Lila's eyes widened. "Noah, get down!" Tires screeched. The car sped toward us. I slammed the door behind me and stepped into the house that no longer felt like home. The silence was thick, the kind that hums in your ears when grief turns into rage. The hallway smelled like Marissa's perfume. Sweet, poisonous. Every picture frame seemed to mock me. I ripped one off the wall and tossed it aside. I had nothing left. No proof, no trust. No one. But something inside me refused to give up. My father was fighting for his life, and I wasn't walking away without the truth. I started with her study. The air was cold, faintly scented with roses and dust. Her desk was spotless, her files neatly arranged, too neat. I opened the drawers one by one, receipts, jewelry boxes, nothing. Then, as I brushed against a vase, a tiny glint caught my eye, a reflection from the bookshelf. I leaned closer, a small black dot. Blinking red, a camera. My heartbeat quickened. I pulled it out carefully and plugged it into my laptop. The screen lit up, weeks of footage. My throat tightened as I clicked the first file. Marissa's voice filled the room. "You said you'd leave me alone." Adrian's reply was cold. "Not until you give me what I want." He cornered her near the desk, his hand gripping the edge. "If Dad finds out about your past, he'll throw you out." "You think I won't tell him?" Marissa trembled. "You're sick," he smiled. "I'm in control." I paused the video, my chest burning. This wasn't love. It was blackmail. For a moment, I saw her differently, not just as the woman who betrayed my father, but as someone trapped, silenced, destroyed from the inside. I kept watching, file after file. Adrian whispering threats, Marissa crying behind closed doors. The night I first saw their shadows moving, it hadn't been what I thought. The truth hit like a knife. I wasn't just angry anymore. I was sick with guilt. I'd hated her, blamed her, wanted to expose her. But she was a victim too. I dragged my hand across my face, trying to breathe. Then, something strange happened. The footage skipped. The screen flickered to another angle, a wider view of the room. And this time, I saw something else. Someone was placing the camera. A woman, her face half hidden by her hair. She looked around cautiously, then adjusted the lens. I froze as the light hit her face. Lila. My pulse stopped. I replayed it, zooming in. The same brown jacket, the same nervous look she had the night we met. Lila, the girl who claimed to help me. The one who said she was betrayed too. She wasn't a victim. She was watching us, recording us. I sat there, staring at the frozen frame of her face. My mind raced back to everything. Her sudden appearances, her secrets, her apology. It all made sense now. She wasn't following Adrian. She was following me. I leaned back, my chest heaving. "Why, Lila? What were you after?" The camera light blinked once more, faint and eerie, as if mocking me. I turned it toward the wall, my reflection catching in the dark glass. For the first time, I realized how deep this went. Adrian was cruel. Marissa was trapped. But Lila was the one pulling the strings, and maybe she wasn't working alone. A soft creak came from the hallway. Someone was still here. I turned sharply toward the sound. "Who's there?" No answer. Just a faint click. The sound of a door closing. My hand shook as I reached for the camera again. The screen flickered to black, then flashed one last frame. Lila, looking straight into the lens and smiling. The wind at the pier was sharp, carrying salt and memory. Waves slammed against the wooden posts, echoing the chaos in my chest. Lila stood where the dock light flickered, her coat whipping around her legs. "You came," I said. My voice cut through the night. She turned slowly. Her eyes were red like she'd been crying for hours. "You told me to." "Yeah, I wanted to hear it from you this time." The truth. Her hands trembled as she clutched her phone. "I never meant to hurt you, Noah." "Then why did you?" I stepped closer. "You put that camera in her study. You watched everything. You used me." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "I was working for him. Adrian found me after I left the motel. He said he'd ruin me if I didn't help. And you believed him." "I didn't have a choice." She took a step forward. But I stopped when I realized what he was doing to you. To your father. I tried to make it right. I shook my head. By lying again? She reached for my arm, but I pulled back. I sent the footage to your father, she whispered. He knows the truth now. About everything, I froze. You what? She nodded weakly. I thought it would fix things. The sound of heavy footsteps on the dock made both of us turn. Adrian. His coat was soaked, his face twisted with fury. The knife in his hand caught the pier light. Fix things, he hissed. You just destroyed me. Adrian, don't, Lila said, stepping between us. It's over, he laughed, sharp and bitter. No, not until I end this. I moved closer, my voice low. Put it down. You think you're the hero now? He said. You think anyone will believe you after everything? I don't need them to believe me. My father saw the footage. It's already done, his eyes widened. What footage? The one from the hidden camera. The one you didn't know about, he lunged forward. Lila screamed. I grabbed his wrist. The knife scraped against the dock, sparks flying from the metal railing. The struggle was fast, violent. Rain hit my face, blinding me. Adrian's strength surprised me, but rage gave me more. Lila tried to pull him back. Stop, both of you! He shoved her away. She stumbled, falling hard. The knife clattered across the wooden boards. Adrian charged again, his hands gripping my jacket. You ruined everything! No, I said, pushing back. You did that yourself, the pier groaned under our weight. The sound of sirens echoed faintly in the distance. Adrian's eyes flicked toward the flashing lights far down the road. You called them? I didn't have to. My father did, he hesitated. That second was all I needed. I shoved him backward. His foot slipped on the wet wood. For a moment, his eyes met mine. Shock, fear, regret, all flashing in one instant. Then he fell. The splash swallowed his scream. Lila ran to the edge. Adrian! I stared into the dark water, chest heaving. He's gone. The knife floated for a second before sinking. The waves erased everything. The sirens grew louder. Blue lights cut across the rain. Lila turned to me, her face pale. Noah, what do we do? I looked at her, my voice barely a whisper. We tell them everything! She stepped closer, her hand brushing mine. Even about me? I hesitated. Her eyes pleaded. Please. I looked out at the water again, the storm finally easing. We'll see what the truth does this time. The lights reached the pier. Officers shouted in the distance. Lila's grip tightened around my hand. Thank you, she whispered. I didn't answer, because somewhere deep down, I wasn't sure if I was saving her or letting her sink too. Rain hit the pier again. Softer this time, almost gentle. I sat where it all ended, the boards beneath me damp with salt and memory. The sea looked calm, but I knew better. It only pretended to forget. Adrian was gone. They said his body was never found. Marissa left town the week after. No goodbye. Just a note to my father that said, I tried to love you right. He didn't answer. He recovered, but something inside him stayed fractured. I could see it in the way he looked at me, like I reminded him of every broken thing he couldn't fix. You should move on, he told me once. Some things aren't worth remembering, but he was wrong. Every memory hurt, yet I needed them. Because they were proof that it all happened, that we lived even if it destroyed us. I checked my phone. Empty. Lila hadn't called since that night. No message, no trace. She vanished before the police finished their questions. Part of me hated her for leaving. The other part hoped she was somewhere safe, somewhere far from all this. The wind brushed against my face. It smelled of rain and rust. I whispered, was any of it real? My phone buzzed, unknown number. I almost ignored it. Then I saw the thumbnail, a frozen frame from a video. My heart stopped. The file name was truth.final.move. I pressed play. The screen flickered. The image was shaky, dimly lit. Marissa sat in her study, eyes swollen, mascara smudged. She looked nothing like the woman who once smiled at family dinners. Hello? Noah, she said softly, her voice cracked. If you're watching this, it means you found the camera. I leaned closer, every sound of the waves fading behind me. There are things I never told anyone, she said. Things Adrian made me hide. I could hear footsteps behind her in the video. She looked back, nervous, then turned to the lens again. I tried to stop him, but he wasn't alone. My chest tightened. She took a breath, her hands trembling. Someone helped him. Someone inside this house. The video glitched, cutting out for a second. When it returned, she was crying. Please believe me. I didn't mean for it to go this far. I swallowed hard.
Who, Marissa?
Who helped him? The answer came like a whisper. Noah, there's something you still don't know. The video froze. The frame lingered on her face, terrified, pleading, unfinished, then black. I sat there, my reflection flickering in the dark screen. My heartbeat pounded in my ears. The waves crashed again, harder this time, as if the ocean itself was warning me. Something I still don't know, I repeated under my breath. The phone vibrated again. Another message from the same number. One line. Do you really want to know the rest? I stared at it, my thumb hovering over the screen. The air felt heavy, electric. I looked out at the sea, the same place where everything began and everything ended, and for the first time, I wasn't sure if the truth would save me, or finish what was left of me.